Alright guys, so recently the Department of War has marked classified the manifesto of the Cybertruck bomber Matthew Liebesberger. Now there was a whole lot of strange elements at play overall with the situation, so people weren't really happy with this end to the case, not getting any answers. But honestly, the whole manifesto and a lot of other stuff leaked at the time this was happening. And in fact, all the direct, strange correspondences and information that came out at the time had a certain cross-section of podcasters, intelligence assets, and UFO enthusiasts quite shook.
This was my response to him at 8:48. Like, just woke up.
Dude, I'm fucking shaking, bro. You don't understand. This guy emailed me and told me he was being watched by the FBI and Homeland Security, but they weren't going to do anything to him because he had a V-bid. I'm not fucking playing, dude. I have the email. I am shaking, man. This is nuts.
And it goes from there. And I sat there for probably an hour talking to my wife. I'm shaking. I can't even think straight. Like, normal day is shot. And I didn't know what I want to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan. So
what's up? We're doing an emergency episode here with Sam Shoemate, former intelligence analyst. And we are covering the Green Beret that bombed Trump Hotel in Vegas. Sam received an email from the Green Beret and kind of like a manifesto. A little nervous to do this one, but here we go.
So that guy's name is Sam Shoemate, and everything that was shared with him, he does share with us. But first, let's track with his wife's experience of this event for a second. If you spend the half hour to listen to this interview, you'll learn that she really wasn't a very happy wife in the weeks leading up to her husband's death on New Year's Day. Matthew had been avoidant and strange for a couple weeks now. He was late to a family holiday, he had to cancel an Airbnb trip, he had to tell his wife that he had to stay out of town an extra few nights because of a drone shipment that was late that he had to go pick up, just a lot of strange stuff. Later, an actual activity and surveillance log that Matthew had been keeping was found, and it answered a lot of questions and connected dots for the wife. She realized that he actually was probably protecting her in those days and weeks leading up to his death.
21st of December. Surveillance began at the airport, where
I'll leave a link to the entire surveillance log in the pinned comment. It's about 10 minutes long if you want to listen to it at regular speed.
The 23rd of December. I noticed the previous man in the green bomber jacket near a corner of Stetson, walking a dog.
So these surveillance logs are a little bit hard to digest. They're very paranoid. And, we gotta give him a little bit of grace because they are honestly coming from a man who either knew he was about to be murdered or was entirely planning on killing himself shortly. And it is easy to categorize them as a little bit like the offhand schizo comments of, a targeted individual type who maybe not be so believable. We have to remember exactly who this guy was, the credentials he held, the position, the programs he was involved with. Before we get to his manifesto, though, and the rest of it, the surveillance logs are valuable as context for the situation, so I tried to summarize the days. Now, you can take the time to read this, or you can even read the whole surveillance logs, but if I could best sum it up, Matthew comes across as someone who realizes that he's being watched and followed. He realizes that his head's on the chopping block, and it seems that he has decided that, alright, well, I'm going to do it myself then in the biggest way possible, and then everybody's going to know. However, there are also folks who do still believe that Matthew was killed due to the gunshot wound and the self-driving capabilities of the Cybertruck.
We also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle.
There's a kind of funny tweet from that guy, Sam Shoemate. I can't find it at the moment, but it was actually on the date that Matthew had reached out to him. He posted something like, people are always hitting you up saying that Homeland Security and FBI are stalking me, and I need to get something out to the media before I die, and never saying, hey, what's up, how are you doing, or something like that.
Are emails surfacing from the Green Beret veteran Matthew Livelsberger about anti-gravity technology that was used in the drones that we heard about a couple of weeks ago over the East Coast, and even plasma technology with these drones. And the only people that have this technology, supposedly, according to this email, if it's legit, is the United States and China. And he wanted America to come clean about this technology, this anti-gravity technology. Now, obviously, this hasn't been corroborated yet. This might not be true, but if it is true, it really makes you wonder, did he kill himself, or are there powers that be that killed him for trying to get the truth out? We have seen example after example of high-tech technology that civilians, or in this case, a veteran, has brought to light, and the deep state and the powers that be don't want the public to know about it. So what are your thoughts down below? Do you think there's any credibility to this email? And do you think that he was killed to make it look like he...
So the manifesto / leaked email reads as follows.
You want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, "In case I do not make it to my decision point or onto the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones," he puts that in quotes, he says drones, "is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operation Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive VBID." Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive VBID. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a VBID was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice and he goes, "You said that word VBID. Can you tell me what that is?" For your audience, a VBID, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a VBID is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, "I am armed and have a massive VBID. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me." Here's where he gets into the other stuff, and this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. "I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with, redacted, IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted, can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation." Then he says, "For vetting, My LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy.
So apparently these are 2 other leaked letters from Matthew that were recovered from his phone or something. I'm not sure. You can read them if you want to. And the last thing I really want to include is this, because it does corroborate some of what Matthew talked about in his leaked email. We've got UN report finds alleged facilities were not lawful targets. Airstrikes caused significant civilian casualties. So yeah, anything that I said I talked about or that you could look at, that'll be in the pinned comment. And thanks, guys.